Hello everyone! It's about time I review something that's not a toy. I was originally planning on doing reviews after every 5 episodes, but then I just didn't. And this was actually intended to be finished when Subaraya was doing an encore run on YouTube for international audiences, and then I just didn't. But the entire series is still available on Subaraya's channel, and they don't seem to have plans to remove it anytime soon. To start, I'll give my too long didn't watch summary. Did I like it? Yes. Is it objectively good? Yes. Will you like it? Most likely. The story is good, but don't expect to see the main villain too often. Ultraman suit designs are great, Kaiju designs are great, special effects are great, music and themes are great, it's all around great. Now get out of here and watch the series. I'm heading into spoilers now. But thanks for watching. I'll get more into the who's who in the character section, so hopefully you don't get too lost in the plot discussion. Ultraman Z's plot focuses heavily on subterfuge. The main antagonist, Celebro, is an alien parasite who works its way up through the ranks of storage. While he's doing this, other aliens and monsters appear. Once Celebro has conquered storage and Ultroid Zero is created, several monsters awaken in an attempt to stop it. Celebro possesses Yoko as Ultroid Zero is being launched. Ultroid Zero eventually absorbs all the Kaiju metals and becomes Destritos. Destritos defeats Ultraman Z so decisively that Z is forced to separate from Haruki to prevent both of them from dying. Destritos goes on to destroy cities around the world. Through an elaborate plan of the former storage crew, Haruki is able to help Yoko, exorcise Celebro, and the two of them are able to relink Haruki and Ultraman Z. Z is then able to destroy Destritos in base form in the final seconds before the color timer goes out. Celebro attempts to escape, but Juggler captures him. At the end, Haruki and Z bid farewell to the team in search of other planets in need of help. It was easy for me to start souring on the plot in the middle of the series because Celebro was absent for a while. Especially coming off of Ultraman Taiga, I was worried Z would be another Rube. More on that in Rube's series review, but outside of a few highlights, it's the most underwhelming New Generation series. Taiga was a massive step in the right direction, and I'm happy to say that when Celebro did reappear and I figured out what was happening, Z ended up being a very strong entry. They even managed to make the recap episode fun with Kanegan eating the medals and throwing up the specific ones Haruki tells him about. Our main characters work at storage and are Haruki Natsukawa, who becomes Ultraman Z's host, Captain Shota Hebikura, who is revealed in episode 5 to be Juggler's Juggler, Yoko Nakashima, who is the lead robot pilot, Yuka Ota, who is the lead scientist and analyst, and Kojiro Inaba, who is the lead mechanic. Haruki is the main character. He's pretty carefree, but definitely wants to do his best to help people, especially after becoming Z's host. At a point, he reaches a morality crisis in regard to killing Kaiju after seeing a pair of Red Kings protecting their egg. He eventually comes to terms with doing what he must do and shouldering the burden of killing Kaiju because they aren't compatible with human civilization. He's got a pretty good character arc overall. Hebikura, Juggler, is fun to see again. He's still more of an anti-hero, especially later in the series when he allows Celebro to continue doing what it's doing in order to figure out the master plan. I also think him walking off in the end was a nice touch. Yoko starts off the series as the pro, but we quickly learn that she's got a thing for older men. When she finds out Ultraman Z's age, she becomes infatuated and starts referring to him as Lord Z. Over the series, we learn that Yoko wants a man that can beat her in arm wrestling. She's really quite strong. And this plays into the final battle. Haruki managed to enter Yoko's mind and beats her in an arm wrestle. This gives Yoko the strength she needs to push Celebro out of her mind. So I guess this means they're getting married? Anyway, good character. I like Yoko. Yuka Ota is the lead researcher. She's got a morbid obsession for aliens, particularly Juggler, much to Hebikura's chagrin. She hangs around Kojiro Inaba more and more throughout the series, and he becomes a mentor of sorts to her. Yuka also has a connection to Ouroboros from her childhood, making that episode a bit more tragic, me being a Ouroboros fan and all. Kojiro Inaba is the lead mechanic. He's also a pretty good fisherman. Over the series, he reveals he has a daughter, and the team helps her with Ichigo. He also learns that Haruki is Ultraman Z before the other characters, aside from Juggler, of course. He's very likable. There's some great designs in Ultraman Z. In all, we have Ultraman Zero while wearing his new mantle, Ultraman G Galaxy Rising, Ultraman Z Base Form, Alpha Edge, Beta Smash, Gamma Future, and Delta Rise Claw. Oh yeah, Ultraman Ace made an appearance too. Ultraman Zero received a blue mantle from Ultraman Leo. As a fan of the color blue, I dig it. It's accented with silver metal bits, which I'm not sure what to call really. I guess they act like clasps without touching. It stays on somehow. Maybe just whites. I'm thinking too hard about this. Ultraman G received a Z Riser from Ultraman Hikari. He also got the Ginga X and Orb medals. This gave him the new form Galaxy Rising. This form appears more as a suit of armor and might be my new favorite Geed form over Magnificent. It's a very good representation not only of the combination of Ginga X and Orb's traits, but Geed himself as well. Ultraman Z's base form is pretty interesting. As is more common with the new generation Ultras, black is incorporated into the designs to some degree. He is dominantly blue and silver with small patches of black and even less red. His color timer is the letter Z. He's got a slugger-style head crest. His eyes feature a crystalline compound look. Alpha Edge is Z's first fusion form. It's a combination of Ultraman Zero, Ultra 7, and Ultraman Leo. Z gains 0 sluggers and a beam lamp for his head and increased armor, particularly at the shoulders, chest, and thighs. Color-wise, he gets a Zero-like design featuring blue as the dominant upper body color and red dominant on the lower body. There are still trace amounts of black and of course a bunch of silver. Of the 3 original fusion forms, this is my favorite. Beta Smash is up next as the combination of Ultraman, Ultraman Ace, and Ultraman Taro. This form is swole and represents the focus on strength quite well. He gets a red, almost wrestling mask feature on his head, which can be interpreted as a Redman reference, particularly the ears, but it can also easily be a reference to Ultraman Zeroth. I'm of the opinion that it's the Zeroth reference. Body color is dominated by red, with silver as the secondary. Very small amount of black here, and just the tiniest amount of orange too. I'm guessing that could be a reference to Taro's Ultra Dynamite. Gamma Future is Z's third fusion form featuring Ultraman Tiga, Ultraman Dyna, and Ultraman Gaia. It's a pretty cool looking form, but I'd say I like the more mystical vocalizations more than the design. He gets a crystal on his forehead, a combo chest and shoulder armor plate, and lower arm armor. The pattern has a very nice mix of red, purple, silver, black, and even some gold. Delta Rise Claw is the final and most powerful fusion form combining Ultraman Zero Beyond, Ultraman Geed Primitive, and Ultraman Belial Atrocious. Where to begin describing this? It's a pretty brilliant design, again featuring Zero sluggers and crystals from Zero Beyond, the side of head things from Geed, which I will not be calling Ultra Sideburns, and the pattern predominantly comes from Belial Atrocious. Delta Rise Claw is my favorite Z form. As for Ultraman Ace, well, it's Ultraman Ace. Older fans may disagree, but I prefer the new suits over the old suits for the show Ultras. Next, we're going to discuss Kaiju Designs, and I'm really only going to focus on the new Kaiju or Kaiju who got a massive update suit-wise. We'll start with the robots. Zephyr originally appeared in Ultraman Leo, but got a massive overhaul for Z. I love how expressive the eyes are. Wyndham has essentially the same appearance as its Ultraman Mebius appearance, with maybe some slight suit tweaks here and there. King Joe Storage Custom is a fabulous robot. It's pretty much a combination of King Joe and King Joe Black in design. It's also able to separate into 4 independent machines and reconfigure itself into a tank. Someone tell Sabaton, Ultraman will become an instant hit in Sweden if they realize it has tanks. Ultroid Zero? Where to begin? I guess it's okay. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm getting tired of all the Ultraman Zero offshoots. But I guess if we're going into semantics, the entire franchise can be considered a bunch of offshoots of the original. Maybe the fact that it's essentially a springboard for Destritos makes me not care as much for it. Oh, that's what it is! Ultraman Zero and Gridman did the fusion dance. That is exactly what Ultroid Zero is. Moving on to Kaiju, we start with Genegarg. I'm a fan of sharks, and Genegarg is technically a shark. He does look kinda terrifying, but every snoot is boopable at least once. Next up is Arimaki Teleston. It's basically Teleston with Gyrus Frill, but honestly it works. Grigio Raiden is the second original Kaiju in Ultraman Z, though it's still a version of Grigio from Ultraman Rube, but I like Grigio, and Grigio Raiden is no exception. In fact, it's my favorite version of Grigio. Metsuboros is basically Ouroboros with Gilvalis arms and Galactron MK2's helmet in this case. Ouroboros is a favorite kaiju, but especially with everything else about this version, its appearance is just tragic. It makes me sad. Rest in peace, Zet Ouroboros. And now we get to Destritos. Destritos is a fusion of Ultroid Zero and all the kaiju metals. So it's basically Ismail from Ultraman Nexus, except I'd say Ismail looks better. Destrados has parts from Crescent, Dankan, Arstron, Birdon, Satan Beetle, Majaba, and Red King. I think it's a bit much going on. On to music and special effects. We'll start with music, and within music we'll start with the opening and ending themes. The opening theme is Goshoa Kudasai Water no Nawo by Masaki Endo. In English it's Chant My Name. I dare you not to like this song. The ending theme for the first half of the series is Connect the Truth by Nami Tamaki. Very strong ending theme. The second half of the season got Promise for the Future by Tasuku Hatanaka. Once again a very strong theme, and I'd say it's my favorite of the two. Not by much though. Hijiri Anze was the main composer for the series, with Kenji Kawai composing for episode 6. If you've seen Ultraman Nexus, you'll be able to tell Kawai's style apart. The soundtrack is great overall. Obviously I'm not playing any of it because that's an instant copyright claim, if not a strike. But as I said previously, you can just watch the series on Super Eye's channel and listen for yourself. The visual effects are overall great. You can still tell what's CGI here and there, but it's leagues above what it used to be. Beams look very nice as well. There's also a good amount of practical effects. All in all, my closing thoughts are about the same as the initial short review. Ultraman Z is a strong entry in new generation heroes and the franchise overall. Do yourself a favor and give it a watch. Destrados has parts from Crescent, Dankan, Arstron, Birdon, Satan Beeble. This is going in a blooper. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, show your support by hitting the like, rumble, or fire button depending on where you watch this. And then check out my other videos. If you like those, subscribe for future content.